Assalamualaikum, I'm Aliza Kim and welcome to the second episode of Finding Him. Now, in the first episode, I told you about my background. Hey, if you haven't watched it, you can find the link here. You can just click this and you'll be able to find that video. Otherwise, you can find the link down there in the caption. Okay, now this episode, I'm going to be telling you actually about my moments leading up to the Shahada. Okay, continue from the story from last time. On that fateful day, I had gone to the Islamic center that I usually go to, and I was scheduled to actually meet a Muslim lady later on for lunch to follow her around or ask her permission to follow her around because, you know, I had learned so much already. I learned, you know, the stories of the prophets. I had learned a lot about Islamic values. I had learned, you know, the basic things that you're supposed to learn. And now I was at a point where, okay, if a Muslim is someone who just submits themselves, that's me. But if a Muslim is someone who prays five times a day and fasts and all these things, I've never done that. I have never done that, so I want to follow someone around who does do that. So I was supposed to meet this lady. But before that, after my class at the Islamic Center, the teacher that day, he kind of pulled me aside and he was like, okay, Lisa, do you have any questions? And I said, no, but we can have a chat, because I had no questions at that point. I had already been reading for 4 months. I felt like I was getting more and more comfortable with the things I was learning and things that I was understanding. So basically he asked me, what are you waiting for? Okay, so I started to tell him all these excuses. Now I know that they were just excuses, right? Because by this point I had already told everyone, I feel like I've been Muslim my whole life. I've been submitting my whole life. I believe in Allah. I believe in God completely. So I told him, you know, if I revert, there's so many things that I need to know. I need to know how to pray properly. I don't even know the movements, nothing. I need to learn Arabic. I need to be perfect in this. Why? Because I know when I revert, I'm going to have a clean slate. And the next thing he said was, you know, Aliza, this is a problem that a lot of almost Muslims have. It's a problem because how long are you going to take to do that? So he looked at me, he was like, how long are you going to take to do that? Because he knew that I was a perfectionist by that time. I'm very much a perfectionist. I need to know everything so I can make my educated, you know, decision. So he said, okay, Aliza, if you were going to learn Arabic, how many years are you going to take to do that? 2 years? 5 years? Now, if you, and you know, these books that you're reading, you know, how many more years are you going to take to read these books? 5 years? Maybe 10 years? And okay, so this is going to be one of the first questions that he asked me that hurt me. He said, Aliza, you're a perfectionist, but do you know that Allah only gives certain information to people after they submit? So I was like, what do you mean he only gives certain amount of knowledge to people who submit? He's like, you're not going to get the amount of knowledge that you want unless you become a Muslim first. And I was like, that's not fair. And that hurt me. I know that it might not hurt some people, but being perfectionist, that hurt me. I was like, you mean I can't be perfect? You're telling me that I can't be perfect? I can't just read and know stuff? That was first hit, okay? Second hit was, you know, he asked me, you know, what else is it, Aliza? And my biggest issue actually was my family. And I think this is true for a lot of people. I didn't want to hurt my family. I knew that my family was very religious. They were strong Christians, and I felt I don't want to hurt my parents just because I want something for myself. I don't want to hurt them. So he said, you know, Aliza, it's good, these feelings you have. You're a good daughter. But do you know that, you know, if something happens to you tomorrow and you pass away and you go meet Allah one day, He's going to ask you what happened to you. You're not going to have an answer. You know, so I thought to myself, and this had already been in my mind, and by this time I was starting to cry already, but the answer that came to my mind was, look, if God wants me, can I stop Him from having me? No, I can't. If God wants me to do something and He's shown me the truth, can I deny it? No. Even though I didn't understand everything yet, even though I didn't have all of my answers yet, even though I didn't know everything that I was doing, but if God wants me, can I deny Him? No. So at that point, I was crying, my friends were crying, and my teacher asked me, Aliza, now are you ready? And I said yes. And I took my Shahada. And after that, the most amazing feeling went through my body, and I wish that everyone could feel this, that cleansing feeling, and I'm having chills now, of a wave of just calm, going from head to ears to neck, all the way down to my toes, and I'm getting chills even telling you about it. It was as though the burdens of the world and whatever I was going through was just being taken away. And for the next 4 or 5 months, I was happy Aliza. There was nothing that could get me down. Happy Aliza all the time, so happy. And there was no reason for it except for the fact that I was born new, I was clean, and I was a new Aliza, Muslim Aliza. And, you know, everything else is just history. And I'm going to actually tell you that history, because starting with next episode, I'm going to be telling you exactly what I learned on my first day, all the way until, actually now, but little by little, you know. I'm going to start with, you know, what I did the first day, how I learned, you know, how to salah, what was the first verses of the Quran that I learned, what are the 5 pillars, and all these things that a new Muslim has to know. So stay tuned for the next episode where I tell you what you do on your first day. Hi guys, I'm so happy that I had a chance to share my, my special moment with you, my Shahada. Now, if you liked watching my Shahada, you're gonna love sharing with me, when I shared with you what I learned. I learned so many things and there's so much to share with you. I wanna show you, exactly what I learned step by step so that you know it too. If, maybe you're not yet a Muslim, but maybe you're considering, or maybe you are already a Muslim, but you just wanna refresh your memory, this is the series for you. So if you want to just learn a little bit more about me. You didn't get to hear about my background, but you did watch my Shahada. You can actually watch a little bit of my background in this episode here. Okay, now the next episode is when I really start to talk about what I first learned, what I did on my first day. So do stay tuned for that episode, and that one is here. And of course, to keep in touch, you're gonna have to subscribe. Let's face it, subscribe to this channel, okay? It's right here, DOPS channel. And if you want to communicate with me, I'd love to hear from you. So you can just write me on my Facebook, which is Facebook/official Aliza Kim. And I'll see you in my next episode.